Web Marketing That Works podcast, episode 136, with today's guest, James Parnwell, from The Online Co.
Welcome to the Web Marketing That Works podcast. Come behind the scenes of real-life marketing experiments and listen in as amazing guests confess the truth about what really works. Now, here are your hosts, Adam Franklin and Toby Jenkins.
My name's Adam Franklin, and you are listening to the Web Marketing That Works podcast. This is the show for people like you and like me who love marketing on the web. You'll be taken behind the scenes of real-life marketing experiments where we look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. We confess what fails and reveal the truth about what really works. Now, the show is brought to you by our book, which is called Web Marketing That Works as well. And there's a bonus gift for you for listening to this show, and that is the bundle of 33 marketing templates. So you can download those at bluewiremedia.com.au/book. The templates are free, and if you like those, I'm sure you'll love the book, which you can get on our website as well. Okay, so today's guest is James Parnwell, and he is an online marketing guy with a specialty in SEO, which stands for Search Engine Optimization. He runs the Online Co., which is an SEO and online marketing agency, and we crossed paths on a recent roadshow where he was educating the professionals in the audience all about how to get found on Google. For some, this can seem like a dark art. For others, once you understand the formula, it can be a lot more straightforward. Now, there's lots of factors at play, but James really simplifies it for us, and we get to the bottom of the things that you can be doing to increase your visibility on Google. So with that introduction, let us head over to the interview. It's Adam Franklin here, and on the line I have James Parnwell. How are you, mate?
Yeah, doing well, mate.
That is good to hear. Now, I've got a bunch of questions for you because I've seen you speak and you make complex things sound quite understandable. On the recent conferences we've been at, we were sort of talking about SEO and Google Ads and everything like that. And that's often an area where people can get a little bit daunted, a little bit overwhelmed. And of course, when people feel that way, they don't do anything. So I'd like to maybe dive into SEO for starters, and specifically how that can actually, well, talk us through what it is, but also how that can impact business marketers to get more leads and more clients and that sort of thing.
Right. So SEO, search engine optimization, is really the process of making your website friendly to Google. So if you design a website and it's the greatest looking website you've ever seen, it's got these awesome pictures, it makes people feel wonderful and want to contact you, that's brilliant. But if Google doesn't like it and Google doesn't recognize it, then no actual people will find it. Google's the number one website on earth. That's where everybody is every day. So it's the process of getting yourself shown in Google. Essentially what happens is Google's got a robot called the Google bot. And what it does is it comes along and looks at your website, and because it's just a robot, it doesn't see any pictures, doesn't see any videos, it just sees your code. So it reads all of your code and then comes up with a whole bunch of conclusions about your website. Now it does this to your website, and then it does it to the other 100 million websites on earth and sees who's linking to everybody else, and then decides based on an algorithm of 200 factors, who's going to show in position one for which keyword in which part of the world. So that's probably the simplest, the quickest explanation of what SEO is that I can give. I guess the other thing I would add, though, is that these 200 plus factors are top secret. They're held in a black box somewhere in Googleplex in California, and nobody knows what they are. So all the people in the industry like myself have to reverse engineer what works and what doesn't work in order to make SEO work for your website. So we've got some proven things that we've done over the years. But if anybody says to you that they know exactly what's in that algorithm, Google employees don't even know what's in that algorithm.
Right. So, okay. So if you're reverse engineering it, I mean, that's a great explanation, and it just blows my mind just how amazing this search is that Google provides. Like, I remember back in high school days, Google didn't exist. I wonder how we found anything, like obviously in the library and in encyclopedias, but it feels like we're going back 100 years, but it was only 20.
Yeah.
But that aside, that staggers me. So Google has these 200 factors that it keeps top secret in the little Google box somewhere. But if you're reverse engineering it, what are some of the key signals or key factors really that you're pretty like 99% sure has a big impact on your Google rankings?
Right. So the very simple way to start is to make sure that things people are typing into Google to find you, keywords, key phrases, are written on your website. So if you sell, what's an example? If you sell turf, and so you're a turf supplier, you want to make sure that the term turf supplier is written on your website. Now, you can have a page dedicated just to turf supplier. You could have one that's dedicated to lawn supplies, and you want to make sure that that term and other related terms are written on that page. Remember, Google can't see images, it just sees code, and it'll go, look, the heading of this page is turf supplier. So these guys must be selling turf. So we're going to put them into the filing cabinet, so to speak, the Google filing cabinet under turf supplier. If you've just set up your website, then you go to the back of that filing cabinet. And then over time, Google learns to trust who you are based on how long you've been around, how people interact with your site, and who else links to you. And you'll start coming forward in that filing cabinet until one day you'll hit page 1 and all of a sudden you'll start getting loads and loads of traffic. I think the last data I saw was 98.5% of people don't go to page 2. So it's really all about being on page 1.
Wow.
So on page 1, there's 10 SEO results. There might be another 3 local SEO results. So you may have 1 in 13 chance.
Getting there. I heard someone say once, what's the best place to hide a dead body? And the answer was page 2 of Google because no one ever looked at it.
That's right. Yeah, pretty safe.
Yeah.
Pretty safe.
Okay, so what's the split between, you've got your organic search results, which is what we're talking about now, and of course there's also the paid sponsored links from Google AdWords. What's the percentage split these days between people that click on the organic versus the paid ads?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's probably no simple answer because depending on different industries will depend on what that breakup is. But I did read a really interesting article not long ago that was saying that 50% of all clicks to AdWords ads are done without the person knowing or realizing that it's an AdWords ad.
Really?
Well, yeah, if you were to think back 5 years ago, there was this sort of big yellow box around the ads.
Yes.
They got rid of that. Now they've got this little yellow, it just says AD in yellow writing. So that's the only way you know it's an ad. And I read this article and I thought, people aren't that stupid. And then I read it myself. So it's not that obvious. And people say to me all the time, like consistently, 1 a week or something, I never click on those ads. I don't know why anyone would click on ads. I only trust the ones underneath. The truth is people are clicking on them not thinking they're ads. We've consistently seen click-through rates of between 3 and 10% for Google AdWords ads. So, if you've got 8 ads on there, if you've got 20 results on that front page, that's a pretty decent percentage of clicks coming off those top 4 positions.
And what's your take, like if you're advising marketers, business owners who wear the marketing hat or marketing consultants who are advising these businesses, like what's your take on going down the SEO path or the AdWords path? What's your general advice there?
Yeah, right. So, well, I guess Google AdWords is a now strategy. So you can pay for each click and get yourself on the front page of Google immediately. So there's now 4 spots at the top. There used to be 3 and then a whole stack down the right-hand side. And Google ditched that about a month ago. So now there's 4 up the top. You can get into the top 4 spots for your market so that people in your area find you today. Like if you set up an AdWords campaign today, you'll get clicks today. Of course, you're paying for those clicks. And for me, it all comes down to return on investment. Nobody minds paying $100 in clicks if that $100 is getting turned into $1,000. So you've got to look at it from that return on investment perspective. SEO is not a now strategy. It's going to take time and effort and consistency to get you onto that front page. When it does, you're now not paying for clicks, so your return on investment is much higher, but you may have waited 3, 6, 9, 12 months.
And then once you're there, do things shuffle around much once you get to that first page, or are things pretty consistent once you make it?
If anything in the digital world, if left alone, will deteriorate, and SEO is no different. If you manage to get yourself up to, let's say you get to position 5 and say, great, you've arrived, and leave it, you'll drift back to 6, 7. Before you know it, you'll go from position 10, which is the bottom, onto 11, which is the second page. And I actually had a client a couple of years ago. Well, she wasn't a client at the time. She rang me in a bit of a panic, basically saying the phone stopped ringing. And when I did the research in the back end, I could see that the number one term for her industry, she was ranked 11. So literally what had happened is she dropped off the front page and her phone stopped ringing. So it took us a few months because SEO doesn't change, but we got her back onto the front page. And then after about 3 to 6 months, we got her back to position 1 and she started bossing her market again. But yeah, stopping working on SEO is a risky maneuver.
Yeah, it's amazing how just one ranking difference can go from, a thriving business to the phone stopping ringing and then, getting them back up to the top of page 1. You're just completely dominating. It has huge implications, this SEO stuff.
Oh, yeah. Businesses rise and fall. The other thing that's happening all the time is that Google are tinkering with their algorithm. So those 200 factors or 200 plus factors are changing slightly every day. And maybe 2, 3, or 4 times a year, Google will do a major update. And you may have heard of penguins and pandas and hummingbirds and all these other
animals.
Weird wild, but they keep naming their algorithm changes. The other reason that you can't leave it alone is that if an algorithm change happens, you may well drop straight off the front page overnight and see massive changes to your search volume. If that happens, you've got to get back to work and work with the new normal to get your rankings back.
And by the same token, you might find yourself on the first page of Google after one of those changes. Hey,
yeah, you never know. You might be the winner.
Yeah, and often, like a lot of people I find people sometimes chase the algorithm a bit, and I often advise people in a more basic sense, like if you just do good quality content and focus on your keywords, focus on your backlinks, and don't do anything tricky or manipulative, then all these algorithm updates, all they're designed to do is weed out the bad eggs. And if you play straight bat, then all they're doing is weeding out the people who do dodgy black hat sort of weird stuff where you're trying to trick Google. And of course, you're not going to trick Google's smart engineers, thousands of them working on this algorithm. It's only going to be a short-term play. And then the consequence is that you're going to be blacklisted, right? And you can be sort of kicked off all the Google results forever if you misbehave too much. Yeah,
well, best case is you drop off, go back down to page 3 or something, and you work your way back up. That's the best case. The worst case is you get blacklisted and your URL's basically banned, or not banned, but drops out of Google's algorithm completely, so can't get found. And then you've got to start a new website and a new URL and start the whole thing from scratch.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, bad news.
All right, so a lot of times I speak to people who may have hired SEO people over the years, and basically, they hire SEO people because they don't understand what needs to happen. They just think, well, I should get an SEO person. They've told me that they can help. And they're paying, a couple of grand a month, sometimes more in retainers. What type of things should a good SEO provider be doing for that money?
Right. Well, firstly, let me apologise for my industry. It's a fairly new industry, and with every new industry comes cowboys. And it's my belief that the cowboys are getting driven out of the industry, partly because Google's doing a lot of education around this, but also because proper operators are coming to the table and delivering proper results. So what should they be doing? Certainly, it will all revolve around, at the start, keywords, getting keywords onto pages, writing new pages, getting content to pages, so that platform of keywords is done correctly.
Sure. Okay. And that's based on the keyword research as well then, right? So
Yeah. So we'll build a keyword map, and it might have 400 or 500 keywords in there. And then we'll put together a content plan to roll out articles around those keywords and the variations there. onto a website over the course of a few months. The other thing is what we call technical SEO, where we've got a tool that basically pretends it's Google and goes and crawls someone's site, like the Google bot, and then feeds back to us what Google's seeing. So then there's a whole stack of technical fixes in there. But a very easy one that you can do yourself is if you go to your website and it's www.mywebsite.com.au, just remove the www. And if you see that your website has a version without www on it, and then it has the www version as well, if they're both running, what Google's actually seeing there is two websites. Your website's been placed essentially on two domains. And this really confuses Google because it sees the whole thing twice and it goes, well, which one should I show? I'm not sure, so maybe I won't show either. That's a very simple example of a technical fix. It's one of my favorite technical fixes because it's so simple and can achieve so much in a hurry.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And how do you fix it?
How do you fix it? Back at the hosting level, you just need to choose the preferred domain type. So if you use Net Registry or something, you can go in and change the setting there and just make it default to www version or none.
Yeah, cool.
So then other things will revolve around the backlinking process, which will be things like submitting articles, looking for bloggers who are willing to blog about you, doing all that sort of thing. Backlinking, actually, a tool is called Source Bottle. It's SOURCE Bottle, where you can write little PR articles for your business and get published on different blogs or different publications. So you can get some backlinks happening that way. Just really natural, organic stuff.
That's cool. Actually, just on that, yeah, because a lot of bloggers and particularly news websites, they have very high domain authority. And so if you can be getting an article published on those high authority sites, that's going to have a big impact on your own domain authority, and that's going to make you much more visible in search results as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you can write articles for like industry bodies I write articles for a tool we actually subscribe to called Raven Tools. It's an SEO tool. I've written some articles for those guys. And you get some backlinks that way. Backlinks are probably the most dangerous part of Google. If you're going to get blacklisted, it's probably because of dodgy backlinks. It was something that went on a lot maybe 4-5 years ago. Just loads and loads of backlinks off websites that were of no relevance. They were basically spam websites. And Google put a stop to it with one of the Penguin updates, Penguin 2, I think it was from memory. So, trying to get all of my workflows into a few sentences is a bit tough. But there's a couple of points.
No, that's really good. I mean, it's not uncommon, as you say, to hear horror stories of, people in the SEO industry, which is why I wanted you to come on the show, because a lot of people wonder, like, what are they doing? What should they be doing? How can I tell if they're doing anything? And so basically, if your SEO person isn't demonstrating that they're doing keyword research and that they're giving guidance or helping write articles based on those keywords and making sure those keywords end up on the website and making sure that there's some sort of backlinking going on, or at least advice onto which websites and which bloggers to reach out to build those relationships. You should always be keeping the client in the loop and involved in this process as a good SEO, shouldn't you?
Yep, that's right. Yeah. I guess different people want to know different depths of information. We're always walking that tightrope between too little and too much.
Yeah.
You can drown people in our boring jargon in a heartbeat if you're not careful. But no, this is a really crucial part of any business's marketing. People will check out your website before purchasing with you. If your website looks like crap, they assume your business is crap. That's basically how it works these days. So, and if they can't find you, well, you didn't even get to the table.
Yeah, you don't exist in their eyes, or you don't exist because you can't be found on Google, hey?
Exactly.
But is it something that can be completely abdicated to an SEO company, or is it a team effort with the client?
Oh, good question. The way we work is to talk strategically up front and do a marketing analysis. Once we've got a marketing analysis and we understand what the customer's unique service proposition is, what their target customer is, we're then able to put into place a marketing strategy that's in line with the business. In terms of the actual technical implementation, then we've got to go and do that on our own. But I think it should always be driven from the business itself so that the SEO person is like a marketing employee, just outsourced.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cool, mate. Well, I love SEO. I think it's one of the sometimes overlooked areas. Sometimes it's unsexy compared to other new shiny toys.
Yeah.
By far and away, for me, it's been one of the most powerful drivers of traffic and leads and clients from SEO. Like, I read a book called SEO Secrets by Glenn Murray, and I read that probably 6 or 7 years ago, and I implemented just some of what he said. And, we shot up the search results. It took a bit of work, of course, but, once you've got that domain authority and those rankings, man, traffic comes in and clients come in, and it's just the best investment that continues to pay dividends years and years down the track. So it is a bit confusing. It can seem a bit jargony. There are a few cowboys out there, but it's worth sort of listening to people like you, James, and understanding just, how to make it happen, because once you get it happening, it's just unreal. And then you don't need to worry about the new shiny toys, because Google's going to be sending traffic to your door every single day, which is so valuable.
Exactly. Yeah, everyone's got their Periscope strategies at the moment.
It's absurd, hey? And they had their meerkat strategies last week.
Yeah, we all like our bright, shiny things.
Yeah.
SEO is a bit of a Vegemite sandwich. It's just reliable, nutritious. You might as well get on with it.
That's great. No, Google's been the gorilla for 10 or 20 years, and I don't see it going anywhere soon. So the sooner we can get our head around SEO and even Google AdWords, the better for business, I think. So look, James, thank you so much for sharing all of that stuff with us. I could talk SEO all day, but I won't. Where's the best place for people to find out more about you and your business?
I can just jump on our website. It's theonlineco.net. Yeah, you can just have a quick look at the video on the front page there. It's of my ugly head, unfortunately. But if we can help you, just fill out the form. We'd love to have a chat with you.
Yeah, I recommend you do that, listeners, if you're in the market for SEO and Google ads. And also, if you do need a good speaker for a conference, James is top-notch. He explains stuff really simply. The audiences love him, and I would encourage you to check him out if you do see James speaking at a conference near you as well.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure, mate. You have a great afternoon, and I'll catch you again soon.
You too. Cheers, mate.
Cheers. And that's a wrap for my chat with James Parnwell. We went pretty deep on SEO there, and it is good, valuable stuff. One of the things that's been most pivotal or built the most momentum for us anyway has been getting ranked on Google for certain keyword phrases. So, the fact that we rank highly, and typically it's number one depending on where you're actually Googling from, but for social media speaker, for money phrases like that, it's been so valuable in terms of the number of speaking engagements it's led to, and also people that might originally hire us for a speech and then engage other services further down the track. But you know what? Most of that hard work of optimizing that page and other pages of our website was done years and years ago. So if you implement what James says and put the right keywords on the right pages and gradually build up good quality backlinks to those pages, then don't worry about the algorithm changes, because if you're doing everything by the book, or if you're doing everything ethically, I should say, you don't need to understand the book, so to speak, but if you're doing things ethically and you're getting good quality links to good quality content and you've put the right keywords in, then you can increase your ranking over time. You can increase your visibility. And then every algorithm change that comes out, you can celebrate, because you're going to be higher up the list because the people who've been unethical or black hat have been washed away. So plenty of good tips there from James. If you do need a company to help you out and actually implement all of this stuff, I highly recommend his company, The Online Co. His details are obviously in the show notes, and you heard them from him before. If you've got any questions or anything else for me or for James, shoot me a note on adam.franklin@bluewiremedia.com.au. I can put you in touch with James's company, or I can answer some of your questions yourself. So the intent with the show is to deliver actionable advice. I think James did that today. He absolutely did. And if you've got requests or questions, as I said, shoot me an email, send me a tweet on @Franklin_Adam. And if you haven't downloaded our marketing templates, please go to bluewiremedia.com.au/book, and we'll get those over to you via email. And if you enjoyed the show, and I really hope you did, I'd love it if you could take 60 seconds now to pop a review on iTunes or Stitcher, and I look forward to seeing you on the next show.